Welcome to Xiao Voice. Continuing from the previous episode 135. Burning Flame Ancestor? Tang Huo by the side was slightly startled when she heard Tang Zhen muttering to himself. After which, she asked with some uncertainty. Tang Zhen smiled at Tang Huo's uncertainty. He glanced at Xiao Yan, who had sunk deep into the inheritance world of the crystal ball. After which, he placed both of his hands behind him and looked to the ceiling of the hall. A respectful expression was revealed in his eyes. Burning Flame Ancestor is the founder of our Burning Flame Valley. However, due to the great amount of time that has passed, many people have forgotten about this peak expert who once shook the entire continent. Tang Huo involuntarily clicked her tongue when she heard this. It was also the first time that she had heard of this so-called Burning Flame Ancestor. It seemed that the gap in time was indeed a large one. Is the Burning Flame Ancestor very strong? Tang Huo asked somewhat curiously. She seemed to be extremely interested in this legendary figure. He's more than strong. According to what I know, there are 5 ultimate experts in the Do-Chi continent during that era. These 5 people represented the peak strength of the Do-Chi continent. The Burning Flame Ancestor was one of them. The 5 of them possessed mysterious and great power. It is rumored that they were just one step away from the legendary Do-Di class. Tang Zhen slowly said. His voice contained an admiration for the experts during that era. Do-Di. A shocked expression appeared on Tang Huo's pretty face. This title did not require any decoration. It alone possessed an endless amount of pressure, causing everyone to turn into tiny ants in the face of this term. Who are the 4 remaining ultimate experts? Tang Zhen revealed a pondering expression. A long while later, he finally replied, due to it being a long time ago, I am unable to clearly remember the exact names of the 4 others. However, I am aware that the 3 among them belongs to 3 other great factions, the Jiyu clan, Hall of Souls, and Pill Tower. All of them are currently the true peak-level factions. Tang Huo's face was surprised. Immediately, she asked in a strange manner, what about the other person? Which faction is he from? Could it be the Flower Sect or the Profound Sky Sect? Tang Zhen slowly shook his head. There was also some uncertainty between his brows as he replied, this person does not seem to belong to any top factions in the Central Plains today. However, I still have a clear memory of his name because, according to the records in the ancestral books, this expert and the Burning Flame Ancestor had quite a good relationship. It is rumored that this Skyfire 3 mysterious change had been created by him. The Skyfire 3 mysterious change was created by that expert? Tang Huo's small mouth immediately widened in shock when she heard this. Her face was filled with surprise. Clearly, she seemed to be in a state of disbelief. The ancestral books record it like this. Due to it being too long ago, it is difficult to determine if it is true or false. Tang Zhen nodded as he replied. What is the name of this mysterious and ultimate expert? Tang Huo became more curious as she hurriedly asked. Tang Zhen fondled his beard. He thought for a moment before he said somewhat uncertainly, he seems to be called Xiao. Xiao Zhan? Oh, it has been many years since I read those ancestral books. I cannot remember his name too clearly. During that era, the Burning Flame Valley was not weaker than those peak factions like the Hall of Souls. Unfortunately, no one like the Ancestor has appeared in the Burning Flame Valley after that. Hence, its reputation has become far inferior to those factions like the Hall of Souls. Tang Zhen sighed when he finished speaking. Xiao Zhan. Tang Huo muttered the words in her mouth. Suddenly, she quietly glanced at Xiao Yan, who had his eyes shut by the side. She smiled and said, Xiao Yan's surname is also Xiao. Could he be related to this elder Xiao Zhan? Tang Zhen was startled when he heard this. He immediately burst out laughing. There are as many people in this world who have the surname Xiao as there are hairs on a cow. Based on what you say, would it not mean that all these people are related to this elder Xiao? Tang Huo stuck out her tongue. She had only randomly spoke. Naturally, she would not be so serious. However, aren't you overestimating Xiao Yan by comparing him with that Burning Flame Ancestor of our Burning Flame Valley? Although Tang Huo had quite a good impression of Xiao Yan, her heart still felt that there was too much of a gap between Xiao Yan and the expert from that era. KK, you should not underestimate him. I have the feeling that this Xiao Yan is not a simple person. I have nothing but praise for that heavenly flame fire lotus of his. Moreover, he is only around 20 or so. yet he possesses many achievements in terms of alchemy and Do Qi. Such a talent is something that even you are far inferior to. Tang Zhen's eyes turned to Xiao Yan, who had his eyes shut. The regret in his eyes once again surged as he sighed. Tang Huo stuck up her small mouth. Although she was a little dissatisfied, the truth was indeed as she had witnessed. Hence, she could only mutter under her own breath. If this was before Xiao Yan had exchanged blows with Wu Chen, she would have confidently fought with him. However, after seeing that fire lotus, she had completely lost this intention because she knew that she would definitely die in the face of that fire lotus. Such a talented young person is not someone from my burning flame valley. How can it not cause one to feel regretful? Tang Zhen let out a long sigh and ceased saying anything. He waved his sleeves and blew the dust on the ground away. After which, he sat down cross-legged and planned to wait on this spot until Xiao Yan awoke. Tang Huo could only sit down and accompany him when she saw him. A day had passed after the two of them had sat down. Xiao Yan's body remained as still as a statue throughout the day without making the slightest movement. If his breathing hadn't remained consistent, it was likely that even Tang Zhen would have thought that some accident had occurred during the inheritance. The fiery red crystal ball was continuously emitting a bright red glow in the spacious hall, lighting up the hall until it appeared like it was daytime within. Xiao Yan still maintained with both his hands extended beside the crystal ball. However, his skin also appeared to release a vague red glow at this moment, causing it to appear extremely mysterious. Why is he still not done? Back then, my inheritance only lasted an hour. Tang Huo supported her cheeks with her hands while looking at the unmoving Xiao Yan. Finally, she could not resist opening her mouth to ask. Back then, you were lazy and did not absorb all of the experiences and improvements of the ancestors within the crystal ball, yet Xiao Yan has chosen to absorb all of them. Tang Zhen faintly explained, once I have digested all the experience that I have absorbed, I will still be able to continue absorbing. Tang Huo extended her tongue and laughed. Oh, I really don't know what to do with you. Your talent is also extremely great. If you were a little more serious, the position of the Valley Chief of the Burning Flame Valley will definitely belong to you in the future. Moreover, with sufficient strength, even those old fellows whom you dislike will not be able to nag you. Tang Zhen shook his head and helplessly teased. Aye. Tang Huo hurriedly nodded, seemingly afraid that Tang Zhen would continue his nagging. Tang Zhen was even more helpless when he saw this. He shook his head before his expression suddenly changed. He turned to the crystal ball and saw the red glow swiftly disappear. Now, Xiao Yan's body was covered in a red glow. A moment later, both of his eyes trembled and were slowly opened. Is he awake? Tang Zhen hurriedly stood up, smiled, and asked when he saw Xiao Yan open his eyes. Xiao Yan's body remained still in the same spot. It seemed as though he was organizing the large amount of information within his head. This continued for a moment before his entire body shivered. A life force surged into his dull eyes. His gaze slid to Tang Zhen as he grinned and nodded. Immediately, he cupped his hands together and respectfully said, Valley Chief Tang, thank you for your generous gift. Xiao Yan was clearly aware that he benefited by accepting such an inheritance. Moreover, his relationship with Tang Zhen was not considered a very good one. However, the things that Tang Zhen had done for him were indeed worthy of this formal thanks. Tang Zhen merely waved his hands randomly in the face of Xiao Yan's thanks. He smiled and said, the complete training method of the Skyfire 3 mysterious flame should be completely in your head, right? Xiao Yan grinned and nodded. A thought passed through his mind and a mysterious training method immediately surfaced within it. This was the complete version of the Skyfire 3 mysterious change. It included not only the first change but the second and third change training methods. I have finally obtained it. Xiao Yan's heart was also exceptionally excited. With this Skyfire 3 mysterious change, his fighting strength would swiftly rise. The Skyfire 3 mysterious change might be able to allow you to raise your fighting strength significantly for a short period of time. However, the energy that you obtain will be exceptionally wild and violent. You should be careful when controlling it. Tang Zhen reminded. Xiao Yan nodded. This was something that he was already aware of. After all, he had practiced the first change of the Skyfire 3 mysterious change for many years. He was already able to control the energy it created very well. Since you have already obtained the Skyfire 3 mysterious change, let's leave the hall first. Tang Zhen smiled, after which, he led the way down the hall. Xiao Yan and Tang Huo followed close behind. Xiao Yan's mood was joyful as he left the Do Chi Hall and felt the fresh air blowing on him. Valley Chief Tang, I have already disturbed you for quite a number of days. Today, Xiao Yan shall leave. If there is anything you need help with in the future, you can come and look for me. Since the Skyfire 3 mysterious change was already in his hands, there was naturally no longer any reason to remain in the Burning Flame Valley. Therefore, Xiao Yan immediately cupped his hands together and spoke. Are you leaving? Tang Zhen had the intention of getting Xiao Yan to stay, but when he heard this, he could only sigh in the end. He nodded and said, I think that you should have some important business. The old me shall not insist, but you must remember not to leak the Skyfire 3 mysterious change. KK, Valley Chief Tang, please rest assured that Xiao Yan is not someone who does not understand the situation. Xiao Yan smiled and nodded. He naturally understood such rules. Tang Zhen smiled, after which, he patted Xiao Yan's shoulder and said, if you have time in the future, you can come to my Burning Flame Valley as a guest. As long as I, Tang Zhen, am still the Valley Chief of the Burning Flame Valley, you, Xiao Yan, will be a VIP in my Burning Flame Valley. Xiao Yan let out a smile in the face of Tang Zhen's good intention. The two cupped their hands to each other. After which, their figures rose into the air, and they swiftly flew toward the exit of the Burning Flame Valley.